Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about ingredients to avoid if you have sensitive or allergy-prone skin that kind of reacts to the products that you're using. I just got back from a derm class that was held by Roche-Posay and Derm Store, where Roche-Posay introduced their new Tolerian Ultra Soothing Repair Moisturizers, and they're formulated for ultra-sensitive skin, and they're tested on allergy-prone skin. If you do have ultra-sensitive skin or just sensitive skin, or you want to be nicer to your skin and just use calming products, the Roche-Posay products that they sent me home with are actually amazing for that. If you don't know anything about Roche-Posay, they were started a long time ago by a pharmacist in a little town in France. I think the town is actually called Roche-Posay, but they have this like hospital for skincare, and it's where they treat people with skin ailments, and they use this thermal spring water that they like swear by because it's got wonderful antioxidants in it. It's soothing for your skin. It probably has lots of minerals. It's mineral rich, and they're minerals that are good for your skin. All of the Roche-Posay products have that thermal spring water as the base of their products, but specifically the Tolerian Ultra skincare products have been tested on allergy-prone skin, and they were explaining it to me because you guys know that I can sometimes get like, what do you mean by tested? But they were talking about how it was tested on people with allergy-prone skin, and these were people that didn't just have like one allergy to specific ingredients, they had more than one allergy. They were testing a lot of people when they were creating these products. So I thought that that was really fascinating, that they really took it serious. And they had a board-certified dermatologist there named Dr. Glynis Avalon, and I thought she's had some really interesting tips about ingredients to avoid if you have sensitive skin or allergy-prone skin. She had some tips on what to do to treat it, and you know, she just gave a lot of insight, so I thought I'd share that stuff with you guys because you're constantly asking me what it is that you should do or what you should avoid if you do have sensitive skin. Something that was really interesting that she brought up at this derm class was the difference between allergy-prone skin, sensitive skin, and reactive skin, like if you have a reaction to an ingredient. So she was saying that allergy, like an allergy reaction to an ingredient, you would actually have to be tested to prove that it's an allergy. So you'd have to go to like your doctor's office, they'd have to do a panel on your back, and they'd have to test you for this. But she said you can't have an allergy to something you haven't been exposed to before. If there's an active ingredient in one of your new skincare products and you've never used that ingredient before, at least you don't think you have, then that means you can't have an allergy to it. Even though you're reacting to it, it's not an allergy reaction because you've never been exposed to it before. So a true allergy is when you're reintroduced to an ingredient. Sensitive skin, she said, she felt like was more of like an industry term. She said that skin sensitivities have really increased over time, and she thinks it has a lot to do with environment. So she said, so a place like Los Angeles, where I live, we have lots of smog and pollution and everything in the air, and so it makes the barrier of our skin, it kind of breaks it down a little bit more, and so we're having more and more sensitive skin. And she thinks that that's why we get sensitive skin issues, but she kind of feels like it's not really a true skincare term, which I thought was very interesting because we say sensitive skin all the time, right? And then 3, she said what she commonly sees the most as a dermatologist is she sees people that come in with like more of like a contact dermatitis, so it's like an immediate reaction. And she said that happens almost immediately, whereas an allergic reaction can happen over 3 to 4 days even because you're having an allergic reaction. So I thought that that was very interesting. She also pointed out that an irritation can happen even if you never reacted to a product or an ingredient before. It can happen at any time because you don't really know what's happening to your skin, and your skin's changing over time as you age as well. Tip number 1 is to look for a minimal ingredient list. And while, you know, sometimes there are tons of products that I use, for instance, that have long ingredient lists, I think it really makes a lot of sense if you have sensitive skin and you're trying to avoid different products, or even if you know that you might react to some products because you've just had reactive skin before. Specifically for people with sensitive skin, if you are trying to narrow down what the ingredients are that are making you react, then you don't want to have a whole long list to have to go through. You want to be able to like shorten the list and be able to narrow it down. All right, so tip number 2 are the actual ingredients to avoid, and she really focused on fragrance. Her big thing was fragrance is probably one of the biggest factors in causing a reaction to your skin. And I thought that was interesting. We talk about fragrance all the time. I personally like to have a little bit of fragrance, not an overwhelming fragrance, but I do know the research is out there, and if you have reactive skin, if you have sensitive skin, whatever you want to call it, fragrance really can cause some kind of an irritation. She also pointed out that essential oils, even though that they might be natural and aren't toxic necessarily, because they have even just a little bit of fragrance in them, then there is a chance that they're going to cause some kind of an irritation as well. She said no matter what, fragrance can cause irritation. So she said that was like number one. Number two for her was preservatives, which I found very interesting. She really focused on parabens, being a preservative that really can cause a lot of irritation and reactions to your skin. But she said just preservatives as a whole. And while I don't 100% agree with getting rid of preservatives in your products, because I do feel like preservatives help to keep our products safe. What I did find interesting is that the marketing director for Roche-Posay pointed out to me when I had asked this question out loud. He said instead of focusing on parabens, so they don't have any parabens in their products, and other like chemical preservatives, instead what they focus on is airtight packaging. So it's airtight packaging, and it ensures that no air gets in and no contamination gets into their packaging, which I find to be very interesting because it's a whole different way to preserve your skincare products. And I hadn't even heard of this before. And then the third ingredient that she said to avoid if you have sensitive skin is the drying alcohol. So we're saying like the denatured alcohols, the SD alcohols, the ones that dry your skin. And she didn't say to avoid them altogether. She said that she actually thinks there's a time and place to have them. Like if you have really oily skin or if you have acneic skin, she said then the alcohols might actually work for you and she might actually tell you to use a product with them. But if you have reactive skin, if you have sensitive skin, she said that you have to avoid the drying alcohols, which I found to be very interesting because it's a very specific type of skin type that needs to avoid them. Tip number 3, she said to baby your skin if you do have a reaction, which I know that's like a very obvious answer, but she elaborated on it. Her whole thing was you want to use cleansers like the one that they gave us. It's their hydrating gentle cleanser. It's not going to strip your skin. It doesn't have any soap in it. It's going to just be very, very gentle on your skin. So she pointed that out. She said to eliminate all stress if you can, which I think is easier said than done to avoid stress like that, because she was saying that stress can kind of like exacerbate skin issues. And she talked about what I thought was really, really interesting is that you want to make sure that your skin is greasy. Like the greasier the better, because it's strengthening your skin, especially if you're having some kind of reaction. If you're going to use something like this balm that is made to help repair your skin and moisturize it, she said don't just use like a little bit. She said use a lot. She said greasy is good because it's protecting your skin, especially if you're trying to heal it. And I thought that was a really interesting point because we do that. She compared it to sunscreen. She was like, whenever I tell people that they need to apply sunscreen, they're like, oh, I put a little bit of sunscreen on. But she's like, no, you need to use a lot of sunscreen. She's basically saying that you need to slather, like you need to slather your sunscreen on. You don't want to be cheap with it. And same when you're trying to protect your skin, you want to make sure that you're really slathering on and going with a thick layer of your moisturizer, because you want to make sure it's protecting and strengthening your skin, which I thought was a really interesting point because we're not really thinking about how our moisturizers strengthen our skin, but that's what they're doing. They're strengthening and they're protecting our skin from all the outside factors. And then she even talked about sunscreens, which I thought was very interesting because sometimes we don't associate our sunscreen with our sensitivity to different products and stuff. If you have sensitive or reactive skin, mineral sunscreen is the way she said to go, because you want it to be just a pure sunscreen that starts to work immediately because it physically blocks the sun, versus a chemical sunscreen. She said while some people do totally fine with a chemical sunscreen, she finds that some of the reactions happen from chemical sunscreen. So she highly recommended a mineral sunscreen. Just to kind of break down for you the products, and they really are basically the products that you need if you're trying to baby your skin and be really calm and gentle with it. So again, there's a hydrating cleanser. I really like this one. There's glycerin in it. It's a really good humectant for your skin. There is ceramides in here. There's niacinamide, which is also really healing and good for your skin. It's just very gentle. It's soap-free and it's not going to strip your skin. So this is a really wonderful cleanser to have. And when it comes to the Tolerian Ultra skincare products, they have the comforting cream, and this is what you would just use on a regular daily basis. The ingredients list is very short, which I appreciate a lot because they're practicing what they preach. It also has the thermal spring water in it, just like all of the other La Roche-Posay products. And while it's soothing your skin, it's also hydrating your skin. And I just find it to be very gentle and nice. It also has neurosensing, which provides intense soothing benefits that are great for sensitive skin. And then there's the night cream. It's actually a soothing gel cream. This has neurosensing and the thermal spring water in it. It's also packed with antioxidants, which I always find to be very nice for your skin. It feels a little lighter than a cream, which I really appreciate. And I actually think that you could use this during the day if you wanted to. If you feel like you've got oily skin, for instance, this would feel really nice on your skin. And last, in the Tolerian Ultra line, they have a calming gel cream for your eyes. You know that I love stuff like this during the daytime. This also has neurosensing and thermal spring water, but it also has niacinamide. So it helps to strengthen your skin too and increase the moisture barrier. It just feels really light. You could use this before or after your cream. I would probably use it before because it's a gel cream. And you can even put this on your eyelid. I know that a lot of you guys have talked about, I'm always talking about just putting eye creams on your orbital bone and staying away from your eyelid. This is actually okay to use on your actual eyelid. So if you're one of those people that says, I have like dry skin on my eyelids, this is a great product for you to use. They even sent me home with this. It's their Intense Repair Moisturizing Cream. This is good for your face and your body. Same thing, it has very good ingredients that are, that are gonna be just really soothing for your skin. There's ceramides to help strengthen your skin, and there are a lot of humectants in this. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, especially if you're dealing with ultra-sensitive skin. You know that I love to speak to dermatologists and to other skincare experts to get this information, and I love to share it with you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. You can find me on Instagram. I'm at Susan Yara, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.